From secret handbag codes that could end conversations instantly to breakfast cereal stored in humble Tupperware, Queen Elizabeth II's daily life was filled with surprising contradictions. The world's longest reigning British monarch relied on objects that ranged from meticulously crafted leather goods to ordinary household containers, each with its own bizarre story. Behind the palace walls, thermometers measured bathwater to precise temperatures, bagpipers played 700 different songs as alarm clocks, and royal chefs prepared gourmet menus for pampered corgis. Here are 15 weird facts you didn't know about objects Queen Elizabeth II used every day. Fact 1. Her handbag was a secret communication device. Queen Elizabeth II's iconic handbag wasn't just a fashion statement or a place to store her lipstick and reading glasses. The monarch used her Launer handbag as a sophisticated communication tool, sending silent signals to her staff throughout her public appearances. When the Queen wanted to politely escape a conversation that had dragged on too long, she would casually shift her handbag from one arm to the other. This subtle movement told her ladies-in-waiting that it was time to intervene and rescue her from the situation. But the most dramatic signal came when she placed her handbag on the floor or a nearby table. This action meant she needed an immediate extraction from whatever event or conversation she was currently enduring, and her staff would swoop in within minutes to end the engagement. Royal historian Hugo Vickers explained that these signals were essential for someone who attended thousands of events throughout her reign and couldn't simply walk away from conversations whenever she pleased. The system was so effective that most people she met never realized they were being dismissed by a leather handbag. Her staff became experts at reading these subtle cues, and the signals remained consistent throughout her entire reign. The Queen reportedly developed this system early in her time on the throne and used it for decades. Beyond the positioning signals, she also used the handbag's placement during meals at banquets. When she placed it on the table, it signaled to staff that she was ready to wrap up the event within the next 5 minutes. This allowed the kitchen and event coordinators to prepare for her departure without any verbal communication needed. The handbag became an extension of royal protocol, proving that sometimes the most powerful communication tools are the ones no one notices. Fact 2. Red boxes arrived. Every single day except 2. Every single day of Queen Elizabeth II's 70-year reign, she received locked red leather dispatch boxes filled with government documents, state papers, and confidential briefings. These boxes arrived without fail, no matter where she was in the world, whether at Buckingham Palace, Balmoral Castle in Scotland, or traveling abroad on royal tours. The only 2 exceptions to this daily delivery were Christmas Day and Easter Sunday. Each box was secured with a lock, and only the Queen had the key to open them. Inside, she would find everything from Parliament proceedings to intelligence reports, from Commonwealth updates to requests requiring her signature. She spent several hours each day reading through these documents, a constitutional duty she took seriously from the moment she became Queen in 1952 until just days before her death in 2022. Royal biographer Robert Hardman revealed that some of these red boxes were the exact same ones used during her coronation in 1953, carefully maintained and repaired over the decades. The boxes themselves became personal items, covered in travel stickers from her many journeys around the world. Former prime ministers recalled how thoroughly she read every document, often catching details they had missed themselves. The boxes were custom-made by Barrow and Gale, a company that held the royal warrant, and each box was lined with the Queen's personal cipher. Even when she was on holiday at Balmoral or Sandringham, the boxes arrived by special courier. Staff members reported that she would sometimes work on the boxes late into the evening, particularly during times of political crisis or major government decisions. This daily ritual connected her directly to the workings of government and kept her informed on every aspect of her role as constitutional monarch, making her one of the most well-informed leaders in British history. Fact 3. Breakfast cereal lived in yellow Tupperware. Despite living in palaces filled with priceless china, sterling silver serving dishes, and even gold-plated tableware, Queen Elizabeth II stored her daily breakfast cereal in ordinary plastic Tupperware containers. Former royal chef Darren McGrady revealed this surprisingly down-to-earth habit during interviews about his time working in the royal kitchens. The Queen preferred Special K cereal for breakfast, and she insisted on keeping it fresh in bright yellow Tupperware containers rather than in fancy crystal or porcelain vessels. She believed the airtight seal of Tupperware kept the cereal crisper and fresher than any royal alternative, showing a practical streak that contradicted the lavish image many people had of royal life. McGrady explained that the Queen was very particular about her cereal not being soggy or stale, and she had discovered through trial and error that the humble plastic containers worked better than anything else the kitchen staff had tried. The yellow Tupperware sat on the breakfast table at Buckingham Palace, Windsor Castle, and her other residences, a splash of ordinary color among the formal breakfast settings. Staff members were instructed to ensure the Tupperware was always filled with fresh cereal and that the seal was properly closed after each use. This wasn't the only area where the Queen showed surprisingly modest preferences in her daily routine. She also preferred simple meals and wasn't particularly interested in elaborate cuisine, often choosing the same breakfast items day after day. The Tupperware became a symbol of her practical nature and her ability to appreciate functional items regardless of their lack of prestige. Royal watchers found this detail particularly charming because it showed that even someone who could have anything in the world still appreciated the simple effectiveness of a well-designed plastic container. The yellow Tupperware remained a fixture of her breakfast routine for decades, proving that sometimes the best solutions are the most ordinary ones. Fact 4. A bagpiper served as her human alarm clock. Every single morning at exactly 9 o'clock, Queen Elizabeth II was woken by the sound of bagpipes playing outside her window, a tradition that dated back to Queen Victoria in 1843. The piper to the sovereign held the unique job of serving as the monarch's human alarm clock, performing for precisely 15 minutes each day. This wasn't a recording or a casual performance, but a live bagpipe concert that required the piper to memorize and perform over 700 different songs throughout the year because the Queen disliked hearing the same tunes repeated too frequently. The position of piper to the sovereign was highly prestigious, always held by a soldier from one of the Scottish or Irish regiments, and the piper wore full ceremonial dress for each morning performance. Former piper Scott Methven, who served from 2010 to 2015, revealed that the job required not only musical skill but also precise timing and the ability to judge when the Queen wanted traditional tunes versus more contemporary pieces. The piper performed regardless of weather conditions, standing on the terrace below her window at Buckingham Palace, Windsor Castle, the Palace of Holyrood House, or wherever she was staying. Rain, snow, or sunshine made no difference to this daily ritual. Pipers had to wake up well before 9 o'clock to prepare their instruments and ensure their uniforms were immaculate. The tradition continued throughout her entire reign, only pausing during the most unusual circumstances. The repertoire of 700 songs meant pipers were constantly learning and practicing new pieces to keep the performances fresh and varied. Some pipers reported that the Queen would occasionally request specific tunes for special occasions or anniversaries. The 15-minute duration was strictly observed, and pipers used watches to ensure they didn't play too long or cut the performance short. This unique wake-up call became one of the most distinctive parts of the Queen's daily routine and represented the blend of tradition and personal service that defined royal life. Fact 5. Bath water required. Wooden thermometer testing. Queen Elizabeth II's morning bath was prepared with military precision, including a wooden-cased thermometer that staff used to ensure the water temperature was exactly right before she entered. This wasn't a casual check, but a mandatory procedure that happened every single morning, with staff members assigned specifically to test the bathwater temperature and report when it met the Queen's exact specifications. The wooden thermometer was kept in pristine condition and was considered an essential tool in the daily royal routine. But the temperature wasn't the only thing staff measured with obsessive attention to detail. The bathwater depth was equally regulated and could never exceed 7 inches, meaning someone's actual job description included measuring bathwater depth every single day. Former royal staff members revealed that this task was taken seriously because the Queen had very specific preferences about her bathing experience and expected consistency regardless of which residence she was staying in. The 7-inch rule applied whether she was at Buckingham Palace, Windsor Castle, Sandringham, or Balmoral. Staff would use measuring tools to ensure the depth was correct before informing her that the bath was ready. This level of precision extended to other aspects of her bathing routine as well, including the placement of towels, the temperature of the bathroom itself, and even the timing of when the bath was drawn. The wooden thermometer became a symbol of the meticulous attention to detail that characterized royal household management. It wasn't about extravagance, but about creating a consistent, comfortable routine for someone whose public life was filled with constant change and unpredictability. Royal author Brian Hoey documented these bathroom protocols in his books about palace life, noting that the staff who prepared the Queen's bath took pride in getting every detail perfect. The thermometer and measuring procedures ensured that her private morning routine provided a moment of predictable comfort before facing the day's official duties. This dedication to precise bath preparation continued throughout her entire reign, with newer staff members trained by experienced ones to maintain these exacting standards. Fact 6. She owned just 15 handbags for 50-plus years. Despite persistent rumors that Queen Elizabeth II owned more than 200 Launer handbags, the truth was far more modest and practical. The Queen actually owned only 15 to 16 handbags from the prestigious British brand, and she used these same bags for over 50 years, having them carefully repaired and maintained rather than constantly buying new ones. This revelation surprised many people who assumed that royalty would have extensive wardrobes and accessories that were frequently updated or replaced. Gerald Bodmer, the CEO of Launer London, confirmed in interviews that the Queen was remarkably loyal to her handbags and preferred to keep the same ones she had grown comfortable with over the decades. When a bag needed repair, it would be sent back to the Launer workshops, where craftsmen would restore it to perfect condition, replacing worn leather, fixing clasps, or updating internal linings. Some of her handbags were over 30 years old and had been with her through countless state visits, royal engagements, and historic moments. The Queen's favorite style was the Traviata model, a medium-sized black patent leather handbag with a distinctive structured shape and short handles that allowed her to carry it in the crook of her arm. She ordered this same style repeatedly, in black and occasionally in other colors for specific outfits, but the total number remained remarkably small. This approach to her handbags reflected a broader philosophy about possessions and waste. The Queen came of age during World War II when rationing and making do with what you had was a national necessity and moral imperative. Those values stayed with her throughout her life, even after she became one of the wealthiest women in the world. Royal staff members noted that she disliked waste and preferred to repair items rather than discard them. The handbags were also deeply personal to her, with each one holding memories of events she had attended while carrying it. This sentimental attachment made her reluctant to retire bags just because they showed signs of age. Launer craftsmen became experts at restoring her specific handbags, keeping detailed records of each bag's history and repairs over the decades. Fact 7. Her fountain pen had royal warrant. Since 1962, Queen Elizabeth II used a Parker 51 fountain pen for her daily writing throughout most of her reign, despite being gifted far more expensive and elaborate pens over the years. The Parker 51 was a modest fountain pen, typically costing under $100, but she preferred its reliability and comfortable feel over luxury alternatives. In fact, she was once presented with a 23-karat gold Parker duofold pen worth thousands of dollars, but she continued using her familiar Parker 51 for everyday correspondence and document signing. Her loyalty to the Parker brand extended back to 1962, when she awarded the company a royal warrant, an official mark of recognition for companies that supply goods or services to the royal household. This royal warrant remained in place for over 60 years, a testament to her consistent preference for their products. The Parker 51 was originally designed in 1941 and became one of the most popular fountain pens in the world, known for its hooded nib design that prevented ink from drying out and made writing smoother. The Queen appreciated these practical features and saw no reason to switch to something more ornate just because she could afford it. Royal observers noted that she could often be seen using her Parker pen during the daily review of the red dispatch boxes, signing official documents and writing personal correspondence. The pen became as much a part of her daily routine as her reading glasses or her handbag. Former staff members reported that she was particular about the ink she used with the pen, preferring black ink for official documents and keeping the pen filled and ready at all times. The Parker Company took great pride in their royal connection and featured the royal warrant prominently in their marketing, though the Queen herself never publicly discussed her pen preference. She simply used what worked for her and remained loyal to that choice for decades. This loyalty extended to other everyday items as well, showing a pattern of finding products she trusted and sticking with them regardless of trends or availability of more expensive options. Fact 8. Desk blotting paper. Was replaced daily for security, Queen Elizabeth II used black blotting paper on her desk for absorbing excess ink from her fountain pen writing. But this ordinary office supply item was treated as a security concern and handled with strict protocols. Every single day, fresh black blotting paper was placed on her desk, and the used blotting paper from the previous day was immediately collected and destroyed. This wasn't about cleanliness or aesthetics, but about preventing anyone from reading what she had written by holding the blotting paper up to a mirror. Because blotting paper absorbs ink from freshly written documents, it creates a reverse impression of the writing, which can be easily read when reflected in a mirror. Royal security officials and household staff recognized this potential vulnerability and implemented the daily replacement and destruction policy to protect the Queen's private correspondence and official notes. The protocol applied to all of her residences, whether she was at Buckingham Palace, Windsor Castle, or any of her other homes. Staff members were specifically trained on the importance of properly disposing of the used blotting paper, ensuring it was destroyed rather than simply thrown away, where it could potentially be retrieved and examined. This level of security consciousness extended to other aspects of her private writing as well. The Queen was known to be a prolific letter writer and kept detailed private notes, so protecting these documents from prying eyes was considered essential. The black blotting paper protocol might seem excessive to outsiders, but it reflected the reality that even seemingly insignificant items could become security risks for someone in her position. Historical precedents existed of secret documents being compromised through careless handling of blotting paper, carbon paper, and other office supplies that retained impressions of writing. Royal household managers didn't want to take any chances with the Queen's privacy and security. The daily blotting paper ritual became so routine that staff members performed it without thinking, part of the hundreds of small tasks that maintained the smooth operation of the royal household. The fact that this protocol continued for decades shows how seriously the palace took even minor security measures, recognizing that protecting the monarch required attention to details that most people would never consider. Fact 9. Corgis had their own monthly gourmet menu. Queen Elizabeth II's beloved corgis didn't eat ordinary dog food from a bag, but instead enjoyed gourmet meals prepared by the royal chefs using a carefully planned monthly rotating menu. The menu featured high-quality proteins, including beef, chicken, lamb, and rabbit, prepared specifically for the dogs with the same attention to detail that went into human meals at the palace. Former royal chef Darren McGrady revealed that preparing the corgi meals was considered a serious responsibility, and the dog's food had to meet specific standards for freshness and preparation. Each dog ate from their own individual bowl, and there was a strict hierarchy at mealtime based on age, with the oldest dogs being fed first and the youngest waiting their turn. This pecking order was enforced to prevent fighting and ensure that each dog received their proper portion. The Queen personally oversaw the feeding routine and knew each dog's preferences and dietary needs. The rabbits served to the corgis sometimes came from hunting expeditions at Balmoral or Sandringham, with Princes William and Harry occasionally shooting rabbits that would later appear in the royal dog's meals. McGrady explained that the Queen would sometimes prepare the dog's food herself, mixing the ingredients and arranging the bowls, particularly when she wanted to give them a special treat or ensure a sick dog received proper nutrition. The dogs never ate scraps or leftovers from human meals, but had their own dedicated food preparation, with ingredients sourced from the same high-quality suppliers used for the royal family's meals. The monthly menu rotation ensured variety in their diet and prevented them from becoming bored with repetitive meals. Staff members joked that the corgis ate better than most people in Britain, but the Queen saw this as proper care for animals she considered family members. She owned more than 30 corgis during her lifetime, starting with Susan, who was an 18th birthday present in 1944 and continuing until her final days. The elaborate feeding routine and gourmet menu reflected her deep affection for these dogs and her commitment to their well-being. Fact 10. White gloves were custom-made. 5 inches long. Queen Elizabeth II's signature, white gloves weren't standard-length accessories, but were custom-made to extend 5 inches, exactly 5 inches from the base of her thumb up her arm. This specific measurement was calculated to ensure that no bare skin would be visible on her arms when she raised her hand to shake hands or wave to crowds. The Queen was meticulous about maintaining a polished, complete appearance in public, and visible gaps of bare skin between her gloves and sleeve cuffs were considered unacceptable. The glove maker Cornelia James held the royal warrant and created these custom gloves according to exact specifications that included not only the length, but also the fit, material, and level of flexibility needed for the Queen to comfortably perform her royal duties while wearing them. The gloves had to be tight enough to look elegant, but flexible enough to allow her to shake hundreds of hands, hold documents, and handle ceremonial items without restriction. She kept spare pairs of these white gloves in her handbag at all times because gloves could easily become soiled or damaged during long days of public engagements. Former ladies-in-waiting confirmed that the Queen would discreetly swap out dirty gloves for fresh ones throughout the day, ensuring she always looked immaculate in photographs and during public appearances. The 5-inch measurement became a standard specification that the glove makers memorized and reproduced consistently over decades. The gloves were made from the finest materials, typically cotton or silk depending on the season and occasion, and were designed to coordinate with her outfits while maintaining the practical function of concealing any visible arm. This attention to detail in something as simple as glove length demonstrated the level of planning and precision that went into every aspect of the Queen's public appearance. She understood that she was constantly being photographed and scrutinized, and even a small detail like visible bare skin could detract from the overall impression she wanted to create. The custom 5-inch gloves became an essential part of her wardrobe, as iconic as her colorful coat dresses and matching hats. Fact 11. Emergency glove delivery by motorcycle. During marathon. In 2004, just before Queen Elizabeth II was scheduled to depart for an important state visit to South Korea, palace staff discovered that her white gloves had not arrived from the glove maker, Cornelia James. This presented a serious problem because the Queen never traveled without multiple pairs of her custom-made white gloves, which were essential to her public appearances and official duties. The glove maker's workshop in East Sussex was over 60 miles from Buckingham Palace, and normal delivery methods wouldn't get the gloves to the palace in time for her departure. Making the situation even more complicated, the London Marathon was taking place that same day, with roads throughout central London closed to traffic and thousands of runners blocking normal routes to the palace. Genevieve James, who ran the family glove-making business, needed to find a way to deliver the gloves through the marathon chaos before the Queen's departure. Her husband volunteered to make the delivery himself by motorcycle, the only vehicle that could navigate through the closed roads and marathon barriers. He carefully packed the custom-made white gloves and set off on his motorcycle, weaving through the marathon route, past runners, spectators, and road closures. The journey that would normally take about 2 hours took significantly longer as he navigated the obstacles created by one of London's biggest sporting events. When he finally arrived at Buckingham Palace, he delivered the package directly to the palace guards, who rushed the gloves to the Queen's staff with just enough time to pack them for her trip to South Korea. The emergency delivery became a legendary story within the Cornelia James Company, demonstrating their commitment to serving the royal household even under the most challenging circumstances. It also highlighted how dependent the Queen's travel preparations were on having every detail perfect, including having the correct accessories packed and ready. The glovemaker's dedication to fulfilling royal orders regardless of obstacles helped explain why they held the royal warrant for decades and remained the Queen's preferred glove supplier throughout her entire reign. Fact 12. She wore the same handbag for 50 years. One particular Launer handbag owned by Queen Elizabeth II appeared in photographs spanning an incredible 5 decades of her reign, making it possibly the most well-traveled and photographed handbag in history. This specific bag featured a distinctive metallic embellishment that made it easily identifiable in photographs, allowing royal watchers and historians to trace its appearances over the years. The bag was photographed with the Queen during her meeting with President Richard Nixon in 1970, showing her carrying it during significant diplomatic engagements early in her reign. Remarkably, the same handbag appeared in photographs from her meeting with President Bill Clinton in 2003 decades later, proving she had kept and continued using this particular bag for at least 30 years. Eagle-eyed royal observers noticed the metallic detail and began tracking other appearances of this handbag in photographs from state visits, royal tours, and official events throughout the 1970s, 80s, and 90s. The handbag's longevity demonstrated not only the exceptional quality of Launer craftsmanship, but also the Queen's tendency to form attachments to items she used regularly and her preference for maintaining rather than replacing possessions. This particular bag had been witness to countless historic moments, carried through meetings with world leaders, state banquets, Commonwealth conferences, and diplomatic ceremonies across multiple continents. The fact that she chose to carry this same handbag for such important occasions over so many years suggested it held special significance for her beyond its practical function. Launer craftsmen confirmed that the Queen would send her handbags back for repair and restoration rather than purchasing new ones, which explained how this bag maintained its elegant appearance across 5 decades of constant use. The metallic embellishment, originally a decorative element, became an unintentional historical marker that allowed people to track one object's journey through some of the most significant moments of the 20th and early 21st centuries. Royal fashion historians noted that while the Queen's clothing styles evolved over the decades, her core accessories, including this faithful handbag, remained remarkably consistent, providing a sense of continuity and familiarity in her public image. Fact 13. Her diary was written in black ink. Only Queen Elizabeth II kept a personal diary throughout her entire reign, writing in it every single night, without fail, for over 70 years. The diary was a leather-bound journal embossed with her royal cipher, the letters EIIR, along with Roman numerals indicating the volume number as she filled multiple volumes over the decades. She wrote exclusively in black fountain pen ink, maintaining this consistency throughout her life and never switching to other colors or writing instruments for her personal journal entries. Former staff members and people close to the Queen revealed that she would write in her diary for approximately 15 minutes each night, a ritual she performed before her head goes bump, meaning before she went to sleep. This nightly routine continued regardless of how exhausted she might be from the day's official duties, travel, or state events. She considered the diary keeping an important personal discipline and historical record, knowing that her observations and reflections might someday provide valuable insights into her reign and the events she witnessed. The diary entries were strictly private, and she didn't share them with anyone during her lifetime, maintaining the personal nature of her reflections. Royal biographers confirmed that she recorded her thoughts on major world events, state visits, family matters, and the countless people she met throughout her reign. Her final diary entry was written just 2 days before her death in September 2022 and reportedly contained only 5 words, though the specific words have not been publicly disclosed out of respect for her privacy. This remarkably brief final entry stood in contrast to the detailed observations she had recorded over 70 years of nightly writing, suggesting she knew her time was limited but wanted to maintain her lifelong habit one final time. The black ink consistency, the disciplined nightly schedule, and the decades-long commitment to this practice revealed a person who valued personal reflection, historical documentation, and the maintenance of private routines even amidst an extraordinarily public life. The diaries remain in private hands and have not been published, preserving the Queen's wish for personal privacy even after death. Fact 14. Royal train operators slowed for her 7:30 bath. When Queen Elizabeth II traveled on the royal train, she maintained her morning bathing routine at exactly 7:30 a.m. But this created an unusual challenge for the train operators responsible for keeping the train moving according to schedule. The solution was a special set of instructions given to royal train operators specifically for the Queen's bathing time. They were required to drive the train with extra care and reduce speed during her bath to avoid bumps, jolts, or sudden movements that might disturb her bathing experience or cause water to splash. This meant that railway staff had to coordinate the timing of the train's journey to ensure that the 7:30 a.m. time slot occurred on smooth, straight sections of track whenever possible, avoiding switches, curves, or rough sections that might jostle the train. The royal train itself was equipped with a full bathroom, including a bathtub, and maintaining the proper conditions for the Queen's bath was considered a priority that affected operational decisions about speed and routing. Train operators took this responsibility seriously, knowing that providing a comfortable bathing experience was part of their duty when transporting the monarch. The instruction to slow down and drive carefully during bath time became part of the standard operating procedures passed down from one royal train crew to another over the years. This unique requirement showed how the Queen's personal routines and preferences influenced even the technical operation of royal transportation. Railway staff reported that they took pride in executing these delicate maneuvers smoothly, ensuring the Queen could enjoy her morning bath without disruption, even while traveling at speed through the British countryside. The 7:30 timing was apparently non-negotiable, as the Queen maintained consistent daily routines regardless of her location or mode of travel. This bath time protocol was just one of many specialized procedures developed to accommodate royal preferences while traveling. But it particularly stood out because it affected the fundamental operation of the train itself, rather than just the comfort of the interior accommodations. The fact that train operators factored the Queen's bathing schedule into their operational planning demonstrated the extent to which her personal routines shaped the logistics of royal travel. Fact 15. Crystal inkwell held two different ink colors. Queen Elizabeth II's writing desk featured an elegant crystal double inkwell that served a specific and deliberate purpose beyond mere decoration. The inkwell contained two separate compartments, each filled with a different color of fountain pen ink that the Queen used for distinct types of correspondence. The first compartment held black ink, which she used exclusively for official documents, state papers, signatures on government legislation, and formal correspondence related to her role as monarch. The second compartment contained green ink, which was specifically reserved for personal letters, private correspondence with family and friends, and communications that were not part of her official duties. This color-coding system allowed anyone handling her correspondence to immediately distinguish between official and personal documents simply by observing the ink color used. Royal staff members were responsible for ensuring that both compartments of the crystal inkwell were always filled with fresh ink, maintaining the proper levels so the Queen never had to wait or refill the inkwell herself. The crystal inkwell sat prominently on her desk at Buckingham Palace and was considered an essential part of her daily writing routine. The practice of using different ink colors for different purposes was a long-standing royal tradition, and the Queen maintained this protocol throughout her reign. The green ink for personal correspondence was a distinctive choice that made her private letters immediately recognizable to recipients who understood the significance of the color. Royal archivists and historians who have examined her correspondence can quickly categorize documents based on the ink color, making the crystal double inkwell not just a functional writing tool, but also an organizational system that has helped preserve the distinction between her public and private writing for historical purposes. The inkwell became such an integral part of her desk setup that staff members knew to check and refill it as part of their daily routine, ensuring the Queen could seamlessly switch between official and personal writing as needed throughout her day.